Hi everybody, it's 2 o'clock, so we're going to go ahead and get started. Thank you for joining us today on this beautiful afternoon, or at least it is here in Indianapolis. This is Jen, Clifton, and Emily from the Schaber.
Hi, it's Emily Schaber in certification.
And we're here at the Indiana State Library. We're excited. There's so many different kinds of librarians joining us today, even someone from Georgia, I believe, who reached out to us and said they were attending. So this is a national webinar, so we're excited to be here. I'm Jen Clifton. You may recognize me. I work with the LSTA grant program. I also do the annual report and statistics for public libraries. And if you're really interested in this kind of stuff, I want to give myself, I want to plug my session at ILF this November about statistics. So we'll go ahead and get started. So you've probably heard of infographics. So what are they anyway? Well, an infographic is just a visual representation of data. Infographics are so important and so effective because we're just overwhelmed with information. There's that joke that librarians don't like to read. I don't think anyone really likes to go through pages and pages of information if someone could just give them that same information in an easy visual. And then most people are visual learners, so if they can see something, if you can show them why it's important, they're more likely to remember it. And then you may notice in your regular life that so much important information, something that you really want to convey to someone, just gets lost when you try to do it with a sea of text. So infographics aren't really anything new. They've been around since there were cave paintings, those images that told stories that cut across language barriers and education levels. Pictures have always been the way to tell stories. So that evolved into hieroglyphics, and then even as early as the 1600s, 1700s, 1800s, people were exploring with data visualization. They started doing maps, charts, scatter plots, mostly hand-drawn at the time, and then as computers came along, that gave everybody the power to generate charts and other graphics. And now everyone has access to apps and web programs, so infographics are really ubiquitous. And we see in the future that they're becoming more interactive. It'll be less about the image and more about finding the data you're looking for specifically, and possibly even including videos. So you may have seen infographics. They're commonly used in advertising and marketing to show data and information related to programs and services. And in libraries, you might use this to get your users and non-users excited about a program you're doing. They're really great for advocacy and justifying why you need money or why you need something. Infographics are great for illustrating and storytelling. So if you're trying to solicit donations or get a grant, you can show the donor or the funder why you need the funding. And then reporting. It's important for reports anytime you need to report out what the library is doing or demonstrate some kind of result. So what we'll go through today in this next half an hour or so are 6 steps from beginning to end for creating and using infographics. We'll also go through 6 different infographic tools and then give you some resources to inspire you to create your own beautiful infographics.
Hi guys, it's Emily. So step 1, there's an A and a B. Step 1A, when you're thinking about what story do you want to tell, and maybe you've thought about doing an infographic. I was thinking about making infographics, and then I was thinking, well, I don't even know what to put, what do I even put in an infographic? So I put it off for the longest time and then finally just jumped into it. So here are a couple of examples for what story you can tell via your infographic. So for fun facts, it doesn't have to be something all very serious. Maybe there's something fun like faster circ checkout time or shorter patron wait time or something like that that's just a little different and not so serious. Your annual stats, of course, these are what you enter in your annual report. But remember, and I'm just going to keep harping on this, we're going to talk about it again and again. We're not doing a data dump into these infographics, okay? We're going to have a narrative. We're telling a story. We're not just throwing a bunch of numbers, meaningless numbers out there. New services, are there new classes? Maybe there's new technology available. Maybe there's something that you've added to your makerspace. Maybe you have added a library of things. For advocacy fundraising, this is where, like Jen mentioned earlier, you can show off what you're doing with your grant money, again, to justify funding from your local government, which is something that is always pressing for us, right? And strategic planning. How is your library growing? What has changed? Some people, maybe they haven't been in your library in 100 years. They don't even know what's happening and what's going to happen over your next 5-year strategic plan. So thinking about, for step 1B, who is your audience? Library users, of course, but maybe even more so, and I guess I would argue more so, your non-users. You already have your users, and of course you want to keep them, but your non-users are your new customers you want so that your services and programs are able to grow. Your local government, again, of course, community leaders. Here's a question. Who are some community leaders or community organizations you could partner with to create infographics? And you may already have some ideas about this if you watched the sneak peek video on my YouTube playlist that I sent out. Who has some ideas about community leaders, community organizations? All right, Suzanne says schools. Absolutely. Schools, I really think, Jen, what do you think? I think that schools are really, really critical for partnering for infographics, certainly.
It can be hard to get their time and attention, so having an easy graphic to show something.
Absolutely. What else do we have?
The Chamber of Commerce, City and County.
Mm-hmm. Great. So you guys keep them coming and kind of try to keep an eye on that, and maybe there are some ideas for leaders and organizations you haven't thought of. So keep an eye and listen at the same time if you can do that. And so students too. So schools, of course, so reaching out to teachers and administrators through infographics or using their data on something that you've partnered together for your infographic, or pulling in those students. They could be K-12, they could be college students, they could be community college students, they could be your non-users who are going to become your new users, so students. All right, so who has used an infographic? Tell us, did we miss any audiences or outlets for infographics? These are a few kind of general, broad ones. Who's created an infographic and shared it with somebody? Anybody?
An annual report.
Okay.
Inspire.
Tell me too, guys, who saw your infographic? Where did you share it to? Who? You make these beautiful infographics that have this rich, meaningful, beautiful data and beautiful images and charts and different things, and it's colorful and lovely. Who sees it? What do we have?
We have librarians and staff, chamber, county, city council, patrons.
Okay, good. So those are ones that I would really expect that those seem like good, solid audiences for infographics. If somebody thinks of something really original, share it with us too, will you? Okay, thank you. All right. Moving on to step 2. Where are we going to find our meaningful data? This is something that I really struggled with when I started thinking about what the heck am I even going to put in an infographic. So here we have a few. Your local stats, the things that you're collecting already on your own for the annual report or something else. Vendor usage stats. So here's the question. If you're going to partner with a school, work together with a school to create a gorgeous infographic, what is the relationship between Inspire use and student achievement, grades on different kinds of research papers and such? I think that would be compelling, and maybe even very compelling to our state government when we are trying to get money for that again. Community data, chamber, the census, we've alluded to those, so just mentioning them again. Do you guys know about the Indiana State Data Center? You can get to it from our state library webpage, which shows here, there's all these links are work, and we will send them out to the slides out to you. So you can get to that page if you don't already know where it is from the link here. And the State Data Center has a wealth and a ton of information that Katie Springer is lovely, and she will help you get data that you need too. PLA Project Outcome. If you're participating in Project Outcome, you've got ready-made data. So put it in an infographic and share it with us. I really would like to see it. I'm excited about what Indiana libraries will report in Project Outcome. IMLS, ALA, etc. All right, so we're going to choose what we want to include. It could be to show trends from prior years to now, or maybe projected trends as well. Percentages, so that is more meaningful, right, than we had 5,000 visitors. Well, what does that mean? You know, how many are in your library district, for example? What does that tell us? That number doesn't tell us anything. A percentage tells us much more, right? Or how much by what percentage did library card signups increase? Something like that. Dollar amounts. You know, everybody wants to know where you could save money, of course, and I think that libraries are really good at that. We know how critical that is to show. Other libraries, you could perhaps compare your library's results with nearby libraries, which actually may or may not be very meaningful because they might be like apples and oranges, possibly. Or you could, though, if it's appropriate, you could show what other libraries are doing and how you could expand services, programs, or collections to kind of copycat them. All right, so other stats. Unemployment rate, graduation rate. Here are two excellent sources I'm going to give you right now to gather that kind of data. The Annie E. Casey Foundation, aecs.org, and IYI.org, the Indiana Youth Institute. They all have data that they break down by state. So you can see where Indiana ranks on a wide variety of children's health and well-being outcomes. And IYI, Indiana Youth Institute, breaks it down by county. So this is very, very useful for infographics and other data gathering, or if you're just like kind of a data nerd and like to read the AECF data book every year it comes out, which some of us may or may not do. All right, so step 4, make it impactful. And I was really harping on this a lot in the videos that you guys may have watched. So for example, and Jen thought of some really great examples here that I would not have thought of. So ticket sales and revenue. Possibly did your library help sell tickets to school sporting events or help raise money for the school sports teams? That's something that people really find important and meaningful. Industry, maybe you have a business incubator that generated some growth in your local economy. Maybe you have a makerspace that a small business used to create something that saved them money. And of course, we're going to show taxpayers where their money goes. there was that trend for such a while about showing the value related to expenditures. We can expand on that because it isn't actually meaningful to everyone. If I never use the library, then what do I care about how many books you bought? I don't care. I don't go to your library. I don't use it. I don't read, or if I buy my own books. So we can expand on this by saying what we've used our money for that contributed to things that the local economy or the local community benefited from. One more thing, and then I'm going to ask a question. So landmarks, I thought about, you can use images. You can import or upload your images of your library or your community and put them into your infographic. You can have photos or other different kinds of images. What about a bicentennial infographic? How about that? Okay, question. What do we think so far about how we could show, I'm going to just go back here for you, how we could show taxpayers how their money contributes to the local business, local economy, just the community in general? Who has something that you think of right off the top of your head, or maybe you've been thinking about it? That would be, oh, sure. The question is, what are you thinking of right now that you could show in an infographic that your library contributes to the community? Okay, we're typing.
Okay.
Awesome. Great, multiple attendees are typing. So Jen will give us some report on that. So we'll just look at this right quick. Well, now it's obvious, right? Which is more impactful? Jen made this gorgeous slide, and to tell you the gosh darn honest truth, I didn't read that paragraph in fiscal year 2011 to 2012. Frankly, I'm not going to read it, Jen, because who wants to? I want to look at this picture that shows me very clearly, without a lot of words, what the message is. Increased public use. Okay, I get that. All right, so what ideas do we have?
Summer reading, graduation rates,
Yes.
computer lab and job searching.
Yes!
Working with the local park, meeting spaces for businesses, tutorials, computers, summer lunch program.
Great, great. Okay, so you guys are really on a roll, and I think that everything you're mentioning is really, really impactful. You just got to show it with your numbers. All right, so now obviously the next step is to create your infographics, and Jen is going to walk us through a couple of the programs. You don't have to be some kind of a fantastic whiz, okay? I don't know how to code anything, but I can copy and paste code to embed an infographic into a website. And you can do that too. And you'll also find that there are definitely tutorials on each of these websites that will help you to learn and get familiar.
Okay, so we're going to go through a few free web-based tools that are commonly used to produce infographics, and then some things you might already have. Tool number one is piktochartcom. So this is one of the most popular infographic creation tools. It's free to create a username, and you have access to a limited number of free templates, so it's plug and play. You create an account, it gives you infographics that you can open and modify and make your own. You can create, let me go ahead and jump out to the website. All right, Piktochart. So here's the template. So I want to create an infographic. And here are a sampling of available templates. And you can see I just took this one. It's about startups in Malaysia, completely not related to anything I do. But I was able to change it pretty quickly to make it about Indiana Public Libraries. So obviously there's some things I didn't change. We don't have 30 million people using our libraries or anything like that. But you can see how easy it is to just take things that are already done, plug in your numbers, change the graphics just a little bit. So I did that in about 2 minutes. So if I can do it, you can do it. Another good thing about this tool is you can save, download, publish, and share. A lot of these tools you can share directly to social media. So if you've already got a library Facebook or Twitter or blog, you can get the stuff out there because everybody knows that posts with pictures get more responses. So I am a fan of Piktochart. And then this is what the actual tool looks like when you're using it. So it's got preloaded graphics, you can add text boxes, change the background, everything's very customizable. Tool number 2 is InfoGraham. Just like the last tool, you can start with a design or you can actually start with data. So you can upload an Excel file or some other kind of data that you have access to. This tool is cool because you can create infographics, so the long scrolling infographics, but also reports, charts, graphs, or even maps. And you can save, email, and share them, but you can't download them unless you're a paid user. So I'm going to show you a couple things I've created with that. And again, this was only in a few minutes. So, okay, so that map that I showed on the PowerPoint, I just took public library statistics from around the country and got the number of MLS librarians by state and was easily able to map it. So you can see that California and Illinois and New York, those are the hot places to look for a library job, I suppose. And then if you wanted to show how your collection's changing over time, you know, maybe you've got less books, but you're filling in that gap with ebooks. You can kind of show the trend. There's a countdown clock feature. There's all kinds of different little widgets and things. So I created a countdown to summer reading. Sorry, Indianapolis, I stole your video. But this just shows how easy it is for any library to use what they already have. So for example, this YouTube video, and pair it with a clock and then share that. You can take search data and show who your most, you know, circulating authors are. It's limitless. And then of course you can create those long scrolling infographics. And I did this in about 2 minutes, made up some stats. Okay, so that's tool number 2. Easily. Again, this tool has thousands of templates and they're very easy to embed on your website when you're done. So I had some experience with Easily. We had our board meeting coming up and we wanted to convey to our board members what happened with Plaque the last year. And we could have just given them that sea of text, but Wendy asked me to create something a little bit more graphic intensive. So this is just a summary of the Plaque program in 2015. How much we reimbursed, how many loans were made, and it's, you know, just the facts. So it's a little bit better to look at and easy to read than a report. All right. Oh, we didn't show it. And then finally, we'll talk about Wordles a little bit later. But Wordle.net is a really great place to make those word clouds that you see. And you'll see the larger words. Those are the words that appear more often. So it's a great way to visualize trends within words. Okay, and then a tool that you probably already have is PowerPoint, just like this presentation was created in. PowerPoint's great because it works on a slide basis and it's a little bit easier to manipulate images and text. You're really unlimited in what you can do with fonts and images. A lot of the web programs will try to get you to go pro or pay for the paid account to have access. But in PowerPoint, you can download whatever you want and use that to create your own. And you can change the size of your slides. You're not limited to that 8.5 by 11. You can do whatever you want in that. So it's kind of like a poor man's graphic design template. And then finally, if you are lucky enough to have access, Adobe Illustrator is really excellent for creating infographics. That's what our communications guide used last summer to create our annual reports. So I would really recommend that if you have a little bit of room in the budget. It's better for people that have a little bit of a better grasp of design and some graphic design experience. Okay, and there's Wordle and word clouds. So this one on the bottom right I used to show what people requested in the 2015 technology grants. So you can see the things that are larger are the things that appeared more often in the grant applications. And then this image shows some of the most popular novels in the United States and United Kingdom over the years. And it's actually an interactive infographic. So you can filter it by decade and location. Okay.
All right, so I went back a slide, as you'll see, because I want to ask who has come up with, as Jen is talking, and maybe your brains are just kind of working, who's come up with an idea for an infographic that hasn't already been mentioned? Some people are typing. Let's see what they come up with. We'll just give it a moment. You guys can keep typing as you think of it, but we're just going to give it a moment because this is a short webinar and we got to keep moving. So when we share it, we want it to have a purpose. So some of the things that we've already talked about, your strategic plan, the impact of your funding, collaboration with schools and community organizations, we talked about those. Maybe you want to summarize an event. Maybe it is a library event, a summer reading program event, a community event with a health fair, I don't know. Something to do with customers and how they're using the library, how their library use has changed or increased, etc. and so forth. Share it with a purpose, not just to put a bunch of numbers out there, meh, here's some numbers, we did our infographic, pat ourselves in the back. No, it's not enough. It has to have a purpose. Oh, I should also mention that one, you may have noticed it, launching a new publicity campaign. So that might be a good one too. Jen, what are we coming up with?
Letters about literature.
Yay!
Telling people how wonderful it is so they can keep getting funding for it. Displaying the most frequently downloaded songs in the library's free Google account.
I like that.
Showing why graphic novels are important. And
yeah, graphic novels are something that's not going away, I don't think, ever.
yeah, and a lot of parents might write them off as comic books when really...
No, not if you talk to any youth or teen librarian. They will tell you that is completely untrue. Patron use of computers. Thank you. Okay, moving on. So where to find inspiration? Maybe you are like, okay, I see these templates. I'm really still not sure how I want it to look. Well, there are lots and lots of sources, and you can just search Google for library infographics. You can also search, another good search term is data visualization. That's exactly what it is. It's data visualization. Jen and I both really like this third bullet point, Libraries Matter, 15 fantastic library infographics. And we think you'll like it too, because since there are a number of them there, you can see a different variety. I also liked from that same website, The Many Roles of the 21st Century Library. And that is what actually inspired my that sneak peek video about the about infographics. And there are so many other. I used the first, I believe it was the first one mentioned about collaborating with organizations. there are many other roles related to the 21st Century Library that you guys might be doing that's unique or just brand new or up and coming that you want to talk about. Changes, trends, whatever it is, that infographic in particular might be useful. And then one I just found on SlideShare last night. I really like this one. Tell your library story with infographics, tips from an accidental graphic designer. I thought that one was really clever. And not only that, but he also goes through some of these steps that we went through too. So you might see, you know, just maybe there's a couple other instructions that are useful to you or something. So I would check that out. I think it's lovely too. All right, a little something extra. So as Jen mentioned, posts with pictures get more views and shares and likes and comments than just the texty stuff. And in addition to that, videos get even more. So if you can put them in a video, which everyone is saying is the future of everything. What was, I read something or heard something, so like, I don't know, 90% of millennials believe you can learn to do anything on YouTube. So that's a captive audience, right? They're already there. And so you can show them these things in an infographic, super easy. Keep it short. One of mine was like 5 minutes long, and I thought, well, this is too darn long, and it really, it probably really is. Because our attention spans are like almost nothing. We're very, very short, so try to keep it as short as you can. Here's a few options for video creating tools. I used Powtoon. It took me a while to get the hang of it, but now I can do Powtoons pretty quickly. They say you can do them in 5 minutes. Full disclosure, I don't think so. I think it takes a lot longer than that, so be prepared. It's not going to take you any 5 minutes. It's not going to take you any 10 minutes. It just could take longer. Animatron, Go Animate, Movely, all are free, and of course you can subscribe to pay to get the premium access. Movely, Jen and I both had a really difficult time. It was extremely slow here at the library and as well at home on my own laptop. I just could not make it work. So maybe you guys have a great trick and your library or something just lets you use Movely very easily. And then a link here to the playlist of infographic videos that I have curated just for you guys. Okay, we've got just a couple minutes. Questions. Start. Go.
No attendees typing.
No attendees are typing. Okay, just type us something. Tell us what was useful, what was not useful, what you already knew, what you didn't know, what you're going to do next. You're very welcome, Jenny. We love to share resources. Canva, yes, somebody mentioned Canva. I have looked into Canva also, and it seemed more like, you can correct me, and then you guys can go out into the world and look at Canva, of course. Seemed to me, I couldn't really find how to use it for infographics, but more so for other like publicity type of images. Admittedly, I didn't spend a lot of time looking at it, but thank you for bringing that up.
Questions about if this is going to be made available.
What?
The PowerPoint.
Yes, we will absolutely email you the PowerPoint and the recording. You will get that, and you will also get your TLEU within 30 days.
I need more time to think about this.
I understand completely. We just threw a lot of things out here in 35 minutes. So yes, you do need more. Well, I mean, I really think you should need more time to kind of digest this and think it over. Absolutely. Absolutely. Everybody needs time. I think it takes a while and a few tries to really get familiar. Absolutely. No, I I can't imagine or expect anybody would have something who's never done an infographic or infographic video and you're going to have it done like at the end of this week or even next week, or I don't know. That's unrealistic. Be patient with yourselves and expect that it's going to take time to learn.
Is there an infographic for how many interruptions a day a public library director gets?
Why don't you create one? There we go. Send that out to all the directors and ask them how many interruptions there are, and we could compare across class sizes, or I don't know. That's just kind of silly, but you were just joking, and I get it, but then I tried to make it serious. Any other questions, comments, guys? We're going to wait until you're all done typing. But we have concluded with the material. You're very welcome, Lisa. Christy, very glad we could share something very new. Google Drive for all of us to access, what is it? It just flashed past my screen.
To access and share with each other.
Make one.
Yeah.
Go right ahead. Yeah, I use Google Drive all the time, as you guys know from all the stuff that I send out to the listeners and post on our Continuing Ed website. Somebody wants to take the initiative to create a Google Drive folder or something? Well, that sounds like great leadership. You're very welcome, one and all, to the thank yous. We are so glad that you took your time out this afternoon to listen to us go on and on about infographics. It's investing in yourself, right? Your professional development. And remember, guys, again, be patient with yourself when you're learning these things. Don't give up. You know, you may put it aside for a week or something, but just be patient as you're learning. Give yourself time. Nobody learns it overnight. All right, I believe that concludes. Well, everybody have a very good rest of your afternoon and your week. We'll get this sent out to you very soon. Thanks, guys. Bye.